Welcome to Howard Brown Barber and Beauty Institute Live. Hey, we're coming in today. We are doing the review for, let's get it together here. We're doing the review for the skin structure disorders and diseases. Okay, so let's begin. Hey, on what part of the body is the skin the thinnest? So is it the shoulders, eyelids, scalp, or hands? When we're looking at this sentence here, we're looking at on what part of the body is the skin the thinnest. So we can look at the shoulders and tell, no, it's a little thick here. Eyelids, it's a little thin here. Is it the scalp? Now, some of us have a large and thick scalp. And then our hands, if you look at your hands, is the skin the thinnest there? So when we're looking at on what part of the body is the skin the thinnest, shoulders, eyelids, scalp, and hands, I would go more so for your eyelids as being the thinnest. So let's go on ahead to the next question. Which of the following is the outer layer of the epidermis? Now, here we're getting ready to run into some tricky words. So we have stratum granulosum, we have stratum spinosum, we have stratum corneum, and then we have stratum lucidum. And your correct answer is stratum corneum, which is C. Okay. Up next, we have the epidermis. Contains no blank, but has many small nerve endings. So here are our options. Is it melanin, keratin, fibrous protein, or blood vessels? Now, if you chose D, blood vessels, then you are on the right path and you are correct. Our next question: what epidermis layer is responsible for the growth of the epidermis? So, is it stratum germinativum? Is it the stratum corneum? Is it the stratum granulosum? Or is it the stratum spinosum? The correct answer is A, which is the stratum germinativum. On to the next question. Subcutaneous tissue, also known as blank tissue, is a layer of fatty tissue found below the dermis. So now, is it elastic? Is it fibrous? Is it adipose? Or is it connective? Going to give you a few minutes, or excuse me, a few seconds to think about that. Is it elastic, fibrous, adipose, or connective? The correct answer is C, which is adipose. On to the next question. What substance lubricates the skin and preserves the softness of the hair? Is it collagen, melanin, elastin, or sebum? Here in this question here, when we look at it, if I was to suggest that you take two things off, most likely two things to take off would be A, collagen, and C, elastin, which is going to leave you then with melanin or sebum. If you chose D, sebum, you are correct. Let's go to the next question. Which nerve fiber carry impulses from the brain to control muscle movement. So is it secretory? Is it sensory? Is it motor? Or is it receptor? So which nerve fibers carry impulses from the brain to control muscle movement? Oh, 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 oh. So is it secretory? Is it sensory? Is it motor? Or is it receptor? If you chose C, motor, now you are correct. Our next question. What layer of the dermis contains the lymph glands? Is it reticular, basal cell, granular, or papillary? So that question again is what layer of the dermis contains the lymph glands? Is it reticular, basal cell? Is it granular or is it papillary? So if you chose A, reticular, you are correct. Blanks supply nourishment to the skin in the form of protein, carbohydrates, and fat. So now, is it A, sebum and lymph? Is it B, blood and lymph? Is it C, water and hydrogen? I'm sorry, water and oxygen? Or is it D, blood and water? Sebum and lymph, blood and lymph, water and oxygen, blood and water. So if you chose B, blood and lymph, you are correct. On to the next question. What can occur to the skin when collagen fibers become weakened? Okay, so what can occur to the skin, okay, our skin, when collagen fibers become weakened? Ooh. Is it wrinkles and sagging of the skin? Is it skin tags? Is it fatty tissue or is it goose bumps? Uh-oh, here we go. All right. So the correct answer is A, wrinkles and sagging of the skin. Our next question, the color of the skin, whether fair or dark, depends on genetics and is it sebum, keratin, melanin, or collagen? So the color of the skin, whether fair or dark, depends on genetics and is it sebum, keratin, melanin, or collagen? Now, if we were to look at this question and take two things off, I would probably take off A, sebum, and D, collagen, which means that the answer is going to be somewhere in B, keratin, or C, melanin. If you chose C, melanin, you are correct. Let's go to our next question. One of the most prominent characteristics of aged skin is its formation of blackheads, oiliness, loss of color, or loss of elasticity. So if you chose D, loss of elasticity, then you are correct. Let's go to the next question. So what body system controls the activity of sweat glands, which regulate body temperature and help to eliminate waste products from the body. So is it A, circulatory? Is it B, nervous? Is it C, endocrine? Or is it D, lymphatic immune? If you chose B, nervous, then you are correct. Let's go to the next question. The outermost layer of the epidermis is covered with a thin layer of sebum. Now, this makes skin, is it waterproof? Is it taut? Is it absorbent or is it sensitive? Now, if we looked at this one here, we know what taut means, and taut is another word for tight, okay? Which makes skin tight. Or does it make skin absorbent? Or does it make skin sensitive? You know, some people have sensitive skin. So let's read the question one more time. The outermost layer of the epidermis is covered with a thin layer of sebum, which makes skin. The correct answer is A, waterproof. Let's go on ahead and go to our next question. What is sebum secretion affected by? So is it affected by injury? Is it affected by pathogens? Is it affected by heat or is it affected by hormones? If we were to take off two, here I would say that I would take off A, injury, and I would probably take off B, pathogens, which means we're left with C and D, heat and hormones. So if you chose D, hormones, you are correct. Let's go on ahead and go to our next question. How much do humans perspire daily? Okay, so are you drinking your water? A, 1 gallon. B, 1 to 2 cups. Is it C, 1 to 2 pints? Or is it D, 1 to 2 quarts? If I were taking off anything, I would take off A, 1 gallon, and I would take off B, 1 to 2 cups, which leaves us with C, 1 to 2 pints, or D, 1 to 2 quarts. So now if you chose C, 1 to 2 pints, then you are correct. Blank is a function of the skin that protects the body from the environment. So is it A, secretion, B, heat regulation? Is it C, absorption, or is it D, excretion? If you chose B, heat regulation, you are correct. Let's go to the next question. The skin protects the body from injury and pain, pressure, pathogens, or emotional stress. The skin protects the body from injury and is it pain, pressure, pathogens, or emotional stress? If you chose C, pathogens, you are correct. Let's go to our next question. A blank is a small blister or sac containing clear fluid lying within or just beneath the epidermis. Is it tumor, nodule, macule, or vesicle? If you chose D, vesicle, then you are correct. Let's go to our next question. An example of a bulla is it impetigo? Is it severe acne? Is it lipoma? Or is it a liver spot? If you chose A, impetigo, then you are correct. On to our next question. Which of the following primary lesions requires a medical referral? So is it macule? Is it cyst? Is it papule? Or is it pustule? If you chose B, cyst, then you are correct. A wheal can be caused by, is it acne, poison ivy, a mosquito bite, or second degree burns? If you chose a mosquito bite, then you are correct. An abnormal mass varying in size, shape, and color is it tumor, cyst, bulla, or nodule? If you chose A, tumor, then you are correct. Severely cracked or chapped hands or lips is considered is it ulcer, crust, fissure, or keloid? If you chose C, fissure, then you are correct. Okay, so did that work?